The rain pounded the cracked asphalt as I crouched in the shadows, my hand steady on the grip of my M4. The weight of it felt like an old friend, one I hadn't seen since the scream started echoing in my skull. My wife's voice, begging me to run. My boys' cries cut short by the flames. I'd promised them a quiet life after the wars. Safe one. But those bastards, white badges stained with cartel blood, took it all. Torched my world to keep their secrets buried. They thought I'd break, disappear. They were wrong. Now I'm the ghost in their rear view. The shadows slipping through their checkpoints. The whisper they can't shake. I've got a crew now. Hardened bikers who've seen their own hells and were coming for every last one of them. The corrupt cops, the cartel dogs, the kingpin pulling strings from his ivory tower. I smell their fear already, thick as the storm rolling in. They lit the match that burned my life down. I'll bury them in the ashes. They drew first blood. I'll draw last. The rain hadn't stopped in 3 days. It hammered the tin roof of the old garage where I'd holed up, a relentless drumbeat that matched the pulse in my temples. I sat on an overturned crate. I M4 across my lap, cleaning it by feel more than sight. The dim glow of a single bulb swung overhead, casting shadows that danced like ghosts. I didn't need light to see their faces. Jess's soft smile, Tommy's gap-toothed grin. They were gone, burned away in a fire set by men who wore badges like shields for their sins. I'd been Delta Force, call sign Reaper. 20 years of crawling through hellholes, Fallujah, Kandahar, places you don't come back from whole. I'd made it out, thought I'd earned peace. Jess believed it too. We'd settled in this nowhere town, population too small to matter, thinking the war was behind me. Then I saw the signs, patrol cars lingering too long at the old mill, cash changing hands in alleys, kids disappearing into the night. I dug deeper, found the rot, a cartel drug ring run by white cops, led by Sheriff Danvers. I told Jess to pack, said we'd leave. She begged me to stay quiet, to keep Tommy safe. I should have listened. They came at midnight, gasoline and screams. I was out back, checking the truck, when the house went up. By the time I got inside, it was too late. Danvers left me alive. His mistake. He thought I'd run. Instead, I buried what was left of my world and started hunting. Tonight I'd tracked one of his lieutenants, Deputy Hayes, to a dive bar on the edge of town. I slipped out the garage's back door, sticking to the shadows. The rain masked my steps as I moved through alleys, avoiding streetlights. I'd scouted the bar earlier. 2 exits, 1 bouncer, a dozen bikes parked out front. Bikers weren't my crowd, but they hated cops as much as I did. Maybe I'd find an edge there. I posted up across the street, behind a dumpster, watching Hayes through the grimy window. He was laughing, a beer in hand, oblivious. My fingers tightened on the knife at my belt. Then I heard it, boots on gravel. I turned slow, keeping low. A figure loomed in the dark, big as a damn tank, a prosthetic leg glinting under the raincoat. He stopped, lit a cigarette, the flare showing a grizzled face and eyes that had seen too much. "You stalking Hayes too?" His voice was gravel and smoke. I didn't answer, just shifted my grip on the knife. He chuckled, unbothered. "Name's Tank. Used to be 82nd Airborne till an IED took my leg. These pigs screwed me out of my pension. Let the drugs flood my streets. Saw you move. Military, right?" I nodded, cautious. "Delta. Call me Reaper." He smirked. "Fitting. I got a crew. Bikers, ex-grunts mostly. We've been hitting their stash houses. Small stuff. You're after blood. I can smell it. Wanna team up?" I studied him. Trust was a luxury I'd lost, but his hate matched mine. "What's the play?" "Hayes moves cash tonight. My boys can box him in. You take the shot. One less rat." I glanced back at the bar. Hayes was still there, smug as ever. Jess's voice whispered in my head, "Keep Tommy safe." I'd failed then. Not now. "I'm in." Tank grinned, stomped his cigarette out. "Welcome to the war, Reaper." The rain kept hammering down as Tank led me to a rusted-out van parked 2 blocks from the bar. Inside, 3 bikers waited, Hard men with harder eyes. Tank introduced them quick. Razor, a wiry ex-Marine with a scar splitting his lip. Hoss, a bear of a man who'd hauled artillery in Desert Storm. And Snake, a lean kid with twitchy hands and a Ranger tab tattooed on his forearm. They sized me up, nods passing for approval. No chatter, no bullshit, just the kind of crew I could work with. Tank spread a crumpled map across the van's dashboard, raindrops smudging the ink. Hayes moves the cash every Thursday, he said, jabbing a thick finger at a winding road out of town. Leaves the bar around 1 a.m., heads to a drop at the old quarry. 2 escorts, usually, patrol cars, lights off. We hit him here. He tapped a sharp bend, where the trees choked the road. No civvies, no backup. I traced the route with my eyes. Good choke point, narrow, flanked by dense pines. Limited sightlines for them, cover for us. How's he armed? I asked. Glock 17, standard issue. Razor cut in, voice sharp. Escorts carry AR-15s. They're sloppy though, too used to running this town. Sloppy gets you dead, I said, checking my M4's mag. 30 rounds, plus the knife. Enough for a start. I'll take Hayes. You box the escorts. Keep 'em pinned. Tank nodded. Razor and Snake on bikes. Hoss with me in the van. We'll ram the lead car. Block the road. You move in from the trees. Distraction? I asked. Snake grinned, pulling a flashbang from his jacket. Loud and bright. They'll piss themselves. I liked it. Simple, brutal, effective. Delta taught me to stack the odds, and this crew knew how to play dirty. We synced watches. 12:45 a.m. 15 minutes to move. The quarry road was a black ribbon under the storm, headlights cutting through the downpour as we took positions. I slipped into the tree line, boots sinking into mud, keeping low. The M4 hung tight to my chest, suppressor screwed on. No need to wake the whole county. Tank's van idled a quarter-mile back, bikes purring behind it. My breath steamed in the cold, steady as a metronome. Waiting was the hardest part, always had been. At 1:03, headlights flared around the bend. 3 vehicles, Hayes' unmarked sedan, sandwiched between 2 patrol cars, just like Tank said. I keyed my earpiece. Cheap burner tech from Snake. They're here. Go. Engines roared. Tank's van lurched forward, tires squealing as it smashed into the lead cruiser's front end, metal crunching loud enough to pierce the rain. Razor and Snake peeled out, bikes weaving, cutting off the rear car. A flashbang arced from Snake's hand, popping with a crack that lit the night white. Shouts erupted, panicked, disorganized, sloppy, like Razor said. I moved fast, breaking cover as the escorts stumbled out, disoriented. Hayes' sedan swerved, tires spinning in the mud, but the van pinned him in. I sighted through the scope, driver's side window, his silhouette clear. One breath, then I squeezed. The suppressed shot punched through glass, and Hayes slumped, blood spraying the dash. Clean kill. The rear escort fired wild, Arkansas rounds chewing the trees. I dropped low, rolling behind a pine, as bark splintered above me. Tank's voice crackled in my ear. Hoss, left flank. A shotgun boomed. Hoss, unloading buckshot into the second cop's chest. He went down hard, clutching the mess of his vest. Razor circled on his bike, popping pistol shots at the lead car. The driver ducked, returning fire, but Snake flanked him. Another flashbang blinding the bastard. I sprinted forward, knife out, and drove it under his chin as he staggered. He gurgled once and dropped. 4 minutes, 3 bodies. The road went quiet, just the hiss of rain, and the groan of wrecked metal. Tank limped over, prosthetic clicking. Cash is in the trunk, 50 grand, maybe more. I didn't care about the money. I popped Hayes' trunk anyway. Black duffels stuffed with bills. A ledger too. Names, dates, drops. Danvers' fingerprints all over it. This'll hurt him, I said, tossing it to Tank. He flipped through it, grinning. Damn right. You're a machine, Reaper. I wiped the knife on my sleeve, the blood mixing with rain. Just getting started. We torched the cars, let the flames eat the evidence. Back at the garage, I sat alone while the crew split the cash. My hands shook, not from the fight, but from the memory. Jess used to tease me about my steady hands, said they'd build Tommy's crib better than any store-bought junk. I'd laughed, promised I'd do it. The crib burned with them. I clenched my fists till the shaking stopped, the pain grounding me. Danvers took that life. I'd take his. Tank slumped onto a crate beside me, cracking a beer. Lost my squad in 03, he said, unprompted. Convoy hit outside Baghdad. Brass called it unavoidable. I called it betrayal. Shoddy intel. No air support. Came home. Found these pigs peddling the same shit that killed my boys. Been fighting since. I met his eyes. Saw the same weight I carried. They'll pay, I said. He nodded. Slow. With you they just might. The ledger sat between us. A map to the next target. I traced a name. Deputy Klein. Danvers' right hand. Tomorrow we'd hunt again. The ledger was a goldmine. Names, stash houses, payoffs. Deputy Klein's name popped up on every page. Danvers' enforcer and bagman. Tank's crew had hit small-time drops before, but Klein was a step up. Ex-army. Trained to fight back. We'd need more than luck. Morning broke gray and damp. The garage thick with cigarette smoke as we planned. Razor taped a hand-drawn map to the wall. Klein's route from the station to a safe house on the edge of town. He's paranoid, Razor said, tapping a winding back road. Switches cars. Doubles back. Always got 2 shadows with him. Armed? I asked, sharpening my knife. Shotguns. Pistols. Snake chimed in, rigging a Molotov from a whiskey bottle. Saw him drop a tweaker last month. Didn't blink. Hoss grunted, loading shells into his 12-gauge. Bastard's mine. Tank cut in. No heroes. Reaper calls the kill. We box. He cuts. I nodded, tracing the map. The road dipped into a ravine. Tight, shadowed, perfect for an ambush. We hit at dusk. Low light, less traffic. Snake, you're on distraction. Fire and noise. Razor, Hoss, block the rear. Tank, front door. I'll flank from the ridge. They grunted agreement. No questions, no doubts. Trust was forming, forged in last night's blood. Dusk fell fast, the ravine a tunnel of gloom. I perched on the ridge, camo netting draped over me. Men 4 steady. Below, Tank's van idled, headlights off. Razor and Snake crouched behind bikes, Hoss looming like a wall. My earpiece crackled. Snake's voice. He's coming. Black SUV, 2 tails. Engines growled closer. I sighted Klein's SUV, a hulking shape between 2 sedans. Now, I hissed. Snake lobbed the Molotov, a streak of flame arcing into the lead sedan. It hit the hood, fire blooming with a whoosh, glass shattering. The driver swerved, crashing into the ravine's wall. Razor gunned his bike, cutting off the rear car, as Hoss unloaded buckshot, tires popping. Tank rammed the van forward, pinning Klein's SUV against the burning wreck. Chaos erupted. Shouts. Gunfire. Klein's escorts bailed. Shotguns blazing. I dropped one with a headshot, the suppressor muffling the crack. The second took cover, spraying rounds. Snake flanked, tossing a flashbang. Light and thunder stunned the bastard. Hoss finished him with a blast to the chest. Klein kicked his door open, pistol up. I slid down the ridge, dirt kicking under my boots, and tackled him into the mud. He swung, hard, trained, but I was faster, driving my knife into his gut. He gasped, eyes wide, blood bubbling on his lips. Danvers'll bury you. He's next, I said, twisting the blade. He went limp. We stripped the SUV, more cash, a burner phone, coordinates. Tank scrolled the phone, frowning. Big shipment tomorrow. Warehouse by the tracks. I wiped my hands, the rain washing Klein's blood away. We hit it. Back at the garage, I sat apart, the burner's screen glowing. Jess used to text me dumb jokes when I was deployed. Don't get shot. I need help with the dishes. I'd promised her I'd come home whole. The memory hit like a gut punch, her laughter drowned by screams. I'd failed her, but I could still burn their world down. Tank dropped beside me, prosthetic creaking. Klein was my CO's kid brother. Saw him take a bribe once, turned my stomach. Never thought I'd cheer his end. War changes us, I said. They chose worse. He nodded, passing me a beer. To the dead. I drank, the cold numbing the ache. The warehouse intel was solid. Coordinates matched a rail yard on the town's rotting edge. Tank's crew had eyes on it all day. Trucks rolling in, armed guards, crates stamped with cartel brands. This wasn't a stash house, it was a hub. Hit it right, and Danvers' operation would bleed. We prepped at noon, the garage a hive of focus. I checked my gear, Min 4, extra mags, flashbangs, knife, razor-rigged tripwires from fishing line and grenades. Snake packed Molotovs. Haas cleaned his shotgun. Tank studied aerial photos, grumbling. 10 guards, maybe more. Chain link fence, floodlights. They'll see us coming. Not if we go dark, I said. Cut the power, hit from the tracks, use the trains for cover. Snake smirked. I can fry their grid. Old breaker box out back. Seen it. Good, I said. Razor Haas, you're on the fence. Tank, with me inside. We burn the crates, grab proof, get out. Night fell heavy, the rail yard a sprawl of steel and shadows. We moved on foot, sticking to the tracks, a freight train's rumble, masking our steps. Snake peeled off, bolt cutters flashing as he hit the breaker. Lights flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed the yard. Guards cursed, radios crackling. I signaled Razor, 2 quick clicks. He and Haas cut through the fence, tripwires set behind. We slipped in, low and fast, the air thick with diesel and sweat. Crates loomed ahead, stacked high. I pried one open, bricks of white powder, cartel stamps glaring. Tank lit a Molotov. Time to cook. Gunfire cut the quiet, guards spotting us. I dropped behind a crate, returning fire. 2 down in seconds. Tank tossed the bottle, flames roared, eating the drugs. Razor's tripwire popped, a scream as a guard's leg blew out. Haas charged, shotgun thundering, another body hitting the dirt. A sniper's round cracked past my head, roof perch. I rolled, sighted, and fired. He dropped, rifle clattering. Snake sprinted back, grinning. Grids toast. They're blind. We torched 3 more crates, grabbed a ledger from an office shack. More names, routes. Sirens wailed in the distance. Move, I barked. We hit the tracks running, flames lighting the night behind us. Back at the van, I flipped the ledger. Danvers' signature, bold as brass. He's bleeding now, I said. Later alone, I traced Jess's name in my mind. She'd hated my deployments, but loved the stories. Me outsmarting death. I'd promised her the last one was it. The warehouse fire flickered in my memory, her voice whispering, "Come home." I hadn't. Now, I fought for her ghost. Tank clapped my shoulder. My old man ran dope in Nam. Died for it. This feels right. Damn right, I said. The war wasn't over. Danvers hit back hard. Dawn broke with news. Razor's bike shop torched, a message scrawled in ash. "You're dead." We'd cut his cash flow. He'd cut our morale.
Issei.
The garage was tense. Razor pacing, fists clenched. That shop was all I had. "We'll make him pay," Tank growled, loading a .45. They rattled, hitting soft targets. I studied the ledger. Next move's theirs. Supply train tomorrow. Big enough to recover losses. We stop it. Snake scouted the rail line. Remote, wooded, a bridge over a dry creek. Perfect bottleneck. 4 guards, armed heavy.
Danvers might show.
Good, I said, cold settling in. We end him there. We hit the bridge at midnight. Rain gone. Moon low. I rigged E4, under the supports. Small charge, enough to derail. Tank and Haas took the west bank. Razor and Snake the east. My earpiece buzzed. Snake, trains coming. 2 miles. The rumble grew. Headlights piercing the dark. I waited, finger on the detonator. Guards paced the cars. ARs up. Now, I said. The C4 popped. Sharp. Controlled. The lead car buckled, screeching off the tracks, dragging crates into the creek. Guards shouted, firing blind. I flanked, dropping 2 with precise shots. Tank and Haas stormed the west. shotgun and pistol barking. Razor cut through the east, knife flashing. A guard's throat opened. A black SUV rolled up. Danvers. He stepped out, flanked by muscle, barking orders. I sighted him, but a guard tackled me, fist cracking my jaw. I rolled, stabbed his thigh, then snapped his neck. Danvers bolted, tires spinning. After him, I yelled. We piled into the van, chasing. He'd pay tomorrow. That night, I saw Tommy's face, laughing, chasing fireflies. I'd promised him a dog. The guilt gnawed. Danvers took that too. Tank muttered, lost my kid to this shit. You get it. I did. Blood called for blood. Danvers' SUV vanished into the night, but the ledger gave us his hole, a hunting cabin, 10 miles out. He'd regroup, call muscle. We had hours, maybe less. The van roared through backroads, tension thick. Razor cleaned his knife. Hoss reloaded. Snake grinned like a madman. Tank gripped the wheel, prosthetic tapping. He's cornered. Desperate men fight dirty. Dirty's my game, I said, checking my M4. We hit hard, no mercy. The cabin squatted in a pine thicket, lights dim, 2 pickups out front. I scouted, 4 guards, rifles, nervous. Snake, lights. Razor, left flank. Hoss, right. Tank, with me. Snake cut the power. Darkness fell. Guards panicked, shouting. I tossed a flashbang. Blinding light, deafening bang. Tank and I stormed the porch, dropping 2 with synced shots. Razor knifed a third. Hoss blasted the fourth. Inside, Danvers waited, pistol raised. You're a dead man, Reaper. You first, I said, diving as he fired. The round grazed my arm, hot, sharp. I tackled him, slamming his wrist to the floor. The gun skidded. He clawed my face. I smashed his nose, blood spraying. Tank pinned him, 45 to his temple. Names, I snarled. Who's above you? He spat, laughing. Higher than you'll reach. I drove my knife into his thigh, twisting. He screamed. Talk. Cartel. El Jefe, out of your league. I yanked the blade free. We'll see. We tied him, left him bleeding. The crew grabbed files, photos, payoffs. El Jeffe's alias. Back at the garage, I bandaged my arm. Jess's voice echoing. You're enough. I wasn't then. Now I'd be her vengeance. Tank stared at the files. My squad died for this shit. El Jeffe's mine too. Together, I said. The war grew bigger. Danvers' files pointed north. El Jeffe's base, a compound near the border. But first, we buried Razor. A sniper caught him at dawn. Payback for the cabin. 1 shot, clean through the chest. We burned his body by the creek, his knife in the flames. The garage was silent. Hoss drinking, Snake pacing. Tank slammed the table. We're bleeding. El Jeffe's next. But we're down a man. We finish it, I said, voice flat. For Razor. For all of them. The compound was a fortress. Walls, guards, cameras. We'd need more. Explosives. Intel. Snake hacked a cartel burner. Shipment next week. Heavy guard. We hit the road. Thin him out, I said. We ambushed the convoy at a canyon pass. 2 trucks, 6 guards. I rigged a rock slide, crushing the lead rig. Tank and Hoss hit the second. Shotgun and Molotovs. Snake sniped stragglers. 8 minutes. All down. Crates of cash and coke. Back at base, I sat with Razor's knife. Tommy's laugh in my head. I'd promised him strength. I'd failed. This was all I had left. War. Tank joined me. Eyes red. Razor saved my ass once. IED ambush. Now he's gone. We'll carry him, I said. To the end. The compound loomed. El Jefe waited. The convoy hit gave us cash, guns and a name. El Jeffe's real one, Miguel Torres. The files pegged him at a compound near the border, a fortress of concrete and steel. We'd thinned his operation, but he'd be ready now, pissed, dug in, and loaded for war. Razor's death hung heavy, a reminder of the cost. We couldn't stop. The garage buzzed with prep. Snake hacked Torres' comms, encrypted, but sloppy. Shipments delayed, he said, grinning. They're scrambling. Guards doubled at the compound. 20, maybe 30. Walls? I asked, taping mags together. 10 feet. Razor wire. Tank said, studying a grainy satellite photo. 2 gates. towers at the corners, cameras everywhere. Haas racked his shotgun. We blow it. Controlled, I said. C4 on the east gate, breach quiet. Snake, kill the power. Tank, Haas, frontal push. I'll flank the towers. Tank nodded, prosthetic clicking as he paced. We're short-handed. Razor'd be pissed if we fuck this. He'd want us to finish it, I said, checking my M4. For him, we rolled out at dusk, the van rattling over dirt roads. The compound loomed under a bruised sky, floodlights stabbing the dark. Snake cut the grid from a utility shed. Lights died, guards shouting. I slapped C4 on the east gate, fuse hissing. The blast was sharp, metal buckling, a hole big enough to slip through. Tank and Haas hit the front, Molotovs arcing, flames chewing the gatehouse. Guards fired back, ARs chattering. I flanked left, scaling a tower's blind spot with a grappling hook. The sentry didn't hear me, knife to the throat, silent drop. I sighted the second tower, popped the guard with a suppressed shot. Inside, chaos reigned. Tanks .45 boomed. Haas' shotgun roared. I moved low, hitting guards in twos, precise, no waste. Snake joined, tossing flashbangs, blinding a knot of Torres men. We cleared the yard, bodies piling, blood slicking the dirt. The main building loomed, Torres' lair. Inside, I barked. He's mine. Later, alone in the van, I gripped Razor's knife, Jess's voice soft in my head. You're my hero. I'd promised her safety, failed. Torres took that too, feeding the town's rot. My hands steadied on the blade. For her, I'd end this. Tank slumped beside me, wiping blood from his face. Lost my brother to dope like this. Torres dies. It's for him too. Together, I said. The compound burned behind us. The main building was a bunker, thick walls, steel doors, a cartel king's panic room. Torres was in there, holed up with his best. Would cut his numbers! But the fight wasn't over. Smoke hung thick from the yard. Sirens faint in the distance. Time was short. Tank kicked the door, locked tight. Ideas? Ventilation, I said, spotting a grate near the roof. Snake, boost me. He grinned, cupping his hands. I climbed, pried the grate loose, and dropped into a dark shaft. The air stank of oil and fear. I crawled, men 4 slung tight, until I hit a filter room. 2 guards, chatting low. I dropped behind them, knife flashing, throats slit, bodies eased down quiet. The hall beyond was lit red, alarms blaring. I keyed my earpiece. Inside, breach now. Tank C4 blew the front door. Debris flew, shouts erupted. I moved parallel, hitting a guard post. 3 men, rifles up, a flashbang rolled from my hand, popping bright. They staggered. I fired. 2 headshots, 1 chest. Clean. Torres' office was ahead, voices leaking through. I hugged the wall, peeked him, bald and scarred, barking at 4 heavies. Find them. I want heads. Tank's crew stormed in behind. Gunfire erupted. I flanked, dropping a heavy with a burst to the back. Holes took a round to the shoulder, grunting but blasting back. Snake knifed another. Torres bolted for a side door, panic room. I sprinted, tackling him as he swiped a keycard. He swung a pistol. I blocked, smashed his wrist. The gun clattered. You're done, I growled, pinning him. He sneered. You're nothing. They'll replace me. Not tonight. I zip-tied him, dragged him out. We hauled ass, holes bleeding but walking. The van peeled out as cop lights flashed on the horizon. Back at base, I stared at Torres, bound and glaring. Jess's screams echoed. Fire, terror. He'd fueled that hell. I'd make him pay. Tank patched Haas, muttering. My squad hit a cartel once. Half didn't make it. This feels close. Closer, I said. He talks or he bleeds. Torres sat in the garage, tied to a chair, blood crusting his lip. We'd taken his empire, drugs, cash, men, but he smirked like he'd won. You're fools, he spat. Kill me, 10 more rise. I loomed over him, knife tapping his knee. Name's Roots. Now, he laughed. Or what? You'll cry to your dead bitch? Rage flared. Jess's face, Tommy's. I drove the knife into his thigh. Slow. He screamed, thrashing. Talk. Fuck you, he gasped. Tank grabbed his jaw. My town's drowning in your shit. Talk, or I carve the other leg. Torres panted, eyes wild. All right, Torres. Big drop, 2 days. My boss, Salazar, he'll gut you. I yanked the blade free, blood pooling. Where? Old Mill, north border. We locked him in a crate, alive for now. Snake scouted the mill online. Abandoned, remote, a trap waiting. Heavy guard, he said. Salazar's no punk. Neither are we, I said, cleaning my knife. We hit it. That night, I sat with Tommy's burned toy car, a relic from the ashes. I'd promised him a real one someday. Big dreams, small lies. Torres' words clawed me. Dead bitch. I'd failed them, but I'd bury this evil for them. Tank joined, grim. Lost my wife to pills. Cartel shit. Salazar's the root. We'll cut it, I said. 2 days to plan. The mill was a death pit. Crumbling brick, rusted steel, a canyon on one side. Salazar's drop was bait, and we'd bite. Smart, not blind. We rolled in at dusk, van hidden a mile out. Snake drone scouted, 15 guards. Trucks, Salazar's SUV. He's there, Snake said. Cocky bastard. Arrogance kills, I said, rigging C4 on the canyon road. We thin him, draw him out. Tank took the ridge with Haas, shotguns ready. Snake wired the mill's power, lights out on my mark. I crept to the canyon edge, M4 up. The drop started, crates unloaded, guards pacing. I clicked the detonator. C4 blew, road collapsing, 2 trucks tumbling, guards scattered, shouting. Snake killed the lights. Darkness hit. I moved, dropping 3 with silence shots. Tank and Haas rained hell from above, buckshot shredding a knot of men. Salazar's voice barked, calm, cold. Flank him. His crew regrouped, pros not punks. A round clipped my vest. I rolled, fired back, guard down. Snake lobbed Molotovs, fire eating the crates. Haas took another hit, leg, bad. Tank dragged him back. Salazar emerged, pistol blazing. I flanked, tackled him into the dirt. He elbowed my ribs. I smashed his face, blood spraying. Game over, I snarled, zip-tying him. We limped out, Haas pale, mill burning. Salazar glared, silent, back at base. I stared at him. Jess's killer, 1 step removed. I'd break him too. Tank patched Haas, voice low. My kid died in a raid like this. Salazar's ends for him. For all of him, I said. The war wasn't done. Salazar was steel, harder than Torres. No fear in his eyes. We locked him in the garage, Haas patched but limping. Tank pacing. He's the head, Tank said. Cut it, the body dies. I leaned into Salazar, knife at his throat. Your empire's ash. Talk, he smirked. You're late. My buyers, Russians, Chinese, they'll rebuild. Your ants. Ants bite, I said, slicing his ear. Shallow, bloody, he hissed. Last chance. Fuck off, he spat. Snake grinned, pulling pliers. My turn. He yanked a tooth. Salazar roared. Next, Vegas, he gasped. Big meat, tomorrow, they'll bury you. We chained him, planned fast. Vegas, a lion's den. I sat later, Tommy's car in hand. I'd promised him the world, failed. Salazar's blood stained my hands. It wasn't enough. Jess deserved more. Tank slumped beside me. My squad's ghosts ride with us. Vegas ends it. Ends it, I echoed. One last fight. Salazar's intel pointed to a penthouse in Vegas, neutral ground for his buyers. Russian mob, Chinese triads, a cartel coalition. A meet this big meant heavy security, dirty money, and a chance to gut the beast once and for all. We'd lost Razor. Haas was limping, but the fire in us burned hotter. This was the endgame. We ditched the van for a beat-up Suburban, crossing state lines under a moonless sky. The garage prep was lean. My M4, Tank's .45, Snake's homemade bombs, Haas' shotgun despite his leg. Salazar rode in the back, gagged, Glaring. Plan? Tank asked. Eyes on the road. High-rise breach, I said, sketching the layout from memory. Casino intel I'd pulled years back. Service elevator to the penthouse floor. Snake cuts cameras. We hit fast. No civilians. No mercy. Guards. Haas grunted, wincing as he shifted. 20, maybe 30, Snake said, tapping a hacked feed. Pros, AKs, body armor. Buyers'll have personal muscle too. Distraction, I said. Snake, rig the parking garage. Smoke, not fire. Draw 'em down. We go up. Tank nodded. Grim. Last ride Reaper. For the dead, I said, gripping my knife. Vegas glowed like a fever dream. Neon cutting the dark. We parked 2 blocks out. Salazar bound in the trunk. Snake wired the garage. Smoke bombs. Timers set. At 2 a.m. they popped, thick gray choking the lot. Alarms screaming. Guards poured down, shouting in Russian, Mandarin, Spanish. We hit the service entrance. Snake frying the cameras with a jury-rigged EMP. The elevator hummed, tension thick as we climbed. Haas leaned on the wall, shotgun ready. Tank checked his mags. I saw Jess's face. Come home. Not yet. The doors slid open. Penthouse hall. 2 guards. I dropped them silent. Knife and suppressed shot. The meat was ahead. Voices, clinking glasses. We stacked up. Snake tossing a flashbang. It burst white light. Deafening crack. We stormed in. Russians fired first. AKs ripping the air. I rolled behind a bar, popping 2 with headshots. Tank took a grazing hit, growled, and unloaded his .45. 2 down. Haas blasted a triad thug, blood painting the wall. Snake lobbed a Molotov. Curtains blazed. Chaos spread. The buyers scrambled. 3 men in suits, shouting orders. I flanked, knife out, gutting a Russian boss mid-scream. Tank tackled a Chinese buyer, snapping his neck. Haas pinned the last, a cartel lieutenant, shotgun to his chest. Move, you're mush. Guards rallied, but we'd stacked the odds. I sighted the last knot. 4 men, panicked. 3 shots, 3 kills. Snake knifed the 4th. The room went quiet, smoke and blood thick. Later, in the Suburban, I sat with Tommy's car, the weight lifting slow. I'd promised him justice in my own way. This was close. Tank bandaged his arm, voice rough. My squad's avenged. You, getting there, I said. One loose end. Salazar. We dragged Salazar to a desert shack, miles from Vegas. The penthouse hit crippled his network, buyers dead, cash torched, but he was the root. He'd fed the rot that burned my family. Tank's town, Haas's blood. This ended tonight. He knelt in the sand, zip-tied, smirking despite the swelling face. You think this stops it? You're ants in a flood. I crouched, knife tapping his chest. You took my wife, my boy. Tank's streets, Razor's life. Talk, any last strings or bleed out slow. He spat, defiant. You're too late. New bosses rise tomorrow. Tank grabbed his throat. My kid odd on your shit. You're done. Salazar laughed, hoarse, mad. I nodded to Snake. He pulled pliers, yanked a nail. Salazar screamed, cursing. All right, safe house, Phoenix. Money, guns, my lieutenant. Where? I pressed the knife to his neck. Old airstrip, west side, he gasped. That's it, I swear. I stood staring at him. Jess's screams in my ears, Tommy's silence. I'd promised her I'd fix this world for him. I failed then, not now. For them, I said, driving the blade through his heart. He gurgled, slumped, gone. We burned the shack, his body with it. The drive back was silent, Haas asleep, Snake counting ammo. Tank broke it. Phoenix? Tomorrow, I said. Last cut. That night, I sat under the stars, Jess's voice soft. You're enough. I'd torn their empire down, but the hole stayed. I'd live with it. Tank joined, prosthetic glinting. My wife begged me to quit fighting. Couldn't. This feels right. Right enough, I said. One more fight. Phoenix dawn was red, the airstrip a dust-choked graveyard, rusted hangars, a single plane. Salazar's safe house was the last thread. His lieutenant, cash, weapons to rebuild. We'd end it here, bury the cartel's ghost for good. We rolled in quiet, Suburban tucked behind a dune. Snake scouted, 10 guards, 2 trucks, a wiry man in a suit barking orders. "That's him," Snake said. "Rawl, Salazar's dog." "Gear?" I asked, checking my M4. "Rifles, grenades." Haas said, leg braced but shotgun up. "Planes fueled, escape rig." "They don't leave," I said, rigging C4 on the runway. Snake, hit the fuel tank. Tank, Haas, frontal push. "I'll flank Rawl." We moved at dusk, shadows long. Snake lobbed a Molotov, the tank erupted, fire roaring, guards scattering. I blew the C4, runway cracked, plane grounded. Tank and Haas stormed the hangar, .45 and shotgun thundering. I slipped right, dropping 2 guards with silenced shots. Rawl bolted for a truck, pistol firing wild. I sprinted, tackled him into the dirt. He clawed my face. I smashed his jaw, zip-tied him. "You're done," I growled. He laughed, bloodied. "New cartel's coming. You're nothing." I dragged him to the crew. Tank loomed. "Where's the cash?" "Hangar 2, Rawl spat. "Kill me, they'll hunt you." Haas shot his knee. Rawl screamed. "No hunt," Haas said. "You're last." We torched the hangar. Money, guns, Rawl inside. The plane burned too, black smoke choking the sky. No survivors, no comeback. Back in the Suburban, I held Tommy's car. Jess's laugh faint. "You did it." I had. The war was over. Tank drove, voice steady. "My ghosts rest now. Yours?" "Close," I said, the ache dulling. Haas nodded, silent. Snake grinned. "Job done." We split at dawn. Tank to rebuild. Haas to heal. Snake to roam. I walked alone, Tommy's car in my pocket, Jess's memory lighter. I'd promised them justice. It cost everything. Razor, blood, years, but I'd kept it. The road stretched empty. For the first time, I felt free.